Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling. The next in my Getting Results in Business series. No, we're not doing Getting Results in Business. We're doing speaking skills first. That's next hour. The next in my speaking skills series, we're working on describing pictures and themes, using the pictures to help us come up with good ideas about themes, and then I'll be giving you keyword connectors to help you structure your ideas. That's a bit about the class. First, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. Here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means, there we go. When you're not speaking, turn off your microphone so that we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words that you're learning, use them actively so that I can give you feedback and correct you. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. So that's a little bit about me. Let me say hello to you before we get started. First of all, welcome back, Antonio. How are you?
Hello, teacher.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
How was your interview?
Yeah, with my test. Yes.
Oh, the test. Right. I'm getting you confused with someone else. That's
Yeah,
right.
but
You had to do the
yeah,
exam.
yeah. But I have good impressions.
Very
Uh,
good.
but it's difficult to know until the 23 is there are able
You'll find
uh,
out?
yeah, in the 23 are the results published.
All right. Keep me posted.
Yeah. You will be informed.
And let's say a quick hello to who's next to you, Antonio? I can't see this. Jonathan. Hello, Jonathan. How are you? Turn on your mic, Jonathan. Just say a quick hello.
Hello, teacher. I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
Very good. Jonathan, where are you from?
I am from Panama.
From Panama. It must be pretty early in the morning in Panama.
Exactly.
Exactly. Go back to sleep, Jonathan. It's too early. Go to sleep. Not worth it. Uh, welcome back, Carmen. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you, John. Good morning to everybody.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen with you. You can see the document that I shared with you right here. I think I posted it in the chat window. So it might be a good idea to have that document open on your computer just because it's probably easier to see. You'll notice if you scroll down, let me update the table of contents. Hold on. What happened? You have been signed out. How have I been signed out? Hold on a second. Google's doing something strange. Wait a second. Let me reload this because I have not been signed out. Have I still been signed out? Something's going wrong here. Oh, Google, you're so full of surprises every day. Nothing ever works the way it should. Okay, well, anyway, I don't know what's going on with this. I think it's working. So if you scroll down, let's see if I can. All right, hang on a second. Something seems to be with this. So what I was going to show you is I want you to open a second link, which I posted for you, which is our mind map, the map of all of the connective words that we've been learning to shape our monologue. When we come up with a theme and we say what we want to say, it's got a clear beginning, middle, and end. So those 3 things together we're going to call a monologue. It's not really a monologue, you're not in the theater, but we have to call it something. So I'll call it that. Monologue because you are speaking alone. Let me just see what's going on with my... Is this working now, or is it not working? Hold on a second. Sorry, something is really going strange with You see, I switched to Chrome to get rid of these problems because I thought maybe Firefox was having a war with Google or something like that. And now nothing seems to be working right. Okay, now I'm signed in, so it should be working. All right, so let me close this and go back. All right, so here, look, take a look at this. On page 3, you'll see a link to English Connectors Mindmap. At any point, you can go to this and open it, and it'll probably ask you to download it. You're not actually downloading it. You're actually going to open it, but it says, you see, download, which you can do, or open with Mindmap. That's the program I'm using. So if you want to open it on your computer, you may have to create a free account. Because I'm sharing this with everyone, anyone can open it, but I think it's going to request that you create a free account. I have an account, so when I click on this, it just opens. Okay? If that's confusing or difficult, then just I'll share my screen with you for now. But you can send me a message if there's any confusion. Okay? So we'll have those two things open. There we go. And on your screen right now, you can see the basic connectors we use to link our ideas together. And what I've done is start to organize it for you. So in other words, I said a good way to remember the basic connectors is to remember the acronym FANBOYS, F-A-N-B-O-Y-S, FANBOYS. And here you can see on the screen what that means. F is for for, A is for N is for nor, B is for but, B is for but, O is for or, down here under comparison, Y is for yet under concession, S is for so under conclusion. The fanboys are for and nor, but or yet so. The basic connectors. Now, why do I want you to learn that? I want you to learn that because under each connector, you have a whole variety of advanced words which mean the same thing, but they sound better in different contexts. They have more nuance, they have more meaning. So let's see if I've done any of these for you. I think I have. If you click on for, and you click on the F button, it opens. And you can see that there's two kinds of for words, two kinds of cause connectors. If you're expressing cause in a simple way, you could say these words here. Let's see if we can move it up. Seeing that, ing, like being that, because, that's the simplest, now, since, and as. So those are simple cause connectors, simple for words, because for is the same as because. I did it for the money. I did it because I wanted money. Okay? So that's an example. The second thing I want to show you is we've got some other kinds of connectors. Well, one that's a little different, although I think it's pretty obvious, is how to connect things with time. I'll put that in a different color for you. Let's open it up. Do I have anything there? I think I do, yeah. And you've got some basic connectors there already. After, before, when, while, as. So I did it afterwards. Before that time, I was doing it while. So these are all basic time connectors. And then you see discourse markers here. That's what we're most interested in this class. Discourse is how you structure connected ideas in a monologue, in a long answer, in other words, or in a text. In other words, in anything beyond a sentence. So let's see what we have there so far, quickly. We've got context connectors, and we've got example connectors. The basic example connector, I didn't write it there, is for instance. Notice we don't really say for example. We can, but it sounds a little formal. So I usually tell people, say for instance in English. Get in the habit of saying that. It sounds a little better. And then we have context. That's like the first thing that comes out of your mouth when you're going to explain what you're going to explain, when you give a little bit of background. So here, if we open it up, we can see a few ideas. Well, to begin with, well, start by saying, well, just to start, well, let me first begin by saying, let me first say, let me first point out, let me first mention. So the first thing that comes out of your mouth will probably be a context connector. And we've got more than just this. But for the moment, that's what we've got on our map. Okay? So we're going to keep referring to this map as we do the exercises today. So let's go back to how to describe a picture or photo. I've got some description connectors here, and I'm going to add these to the map. Okay, so we'll have this all in one place. But as you can see, if you're in a test or an exam situation, you need to talk about a theme. They'll often give you a picture to help you come up with some ideas, especially if you're at a lower level. And I'm suggesting 4 stages for describing a picture to connect it to a theme. You can see those stages here. Actually, instead of me reading it, let me have you read it. So Carmen, could you read the first one for us?
Okay, procedure for describing things, photos. Say what you say. There appears to be, there most likely is, say it seems to be.
Right. So in the business class, we've been doing this too, so this might sound familiar. Antonio, could you go do the second one for us?
There's no Antonio, I think. It's Jonathan.
No, Antonio, he's there. What happened to him?
It's
He
not
disappeared?
here. It's
He
not
disappeared.
here.
Uh-oh. Jonathan, could you do number 2 for us?
Yes, teacher. Guess spectacular about why you are being
Speculate.
speculate about why you are being shown in or a detail in it. There may or might be, I suppose, I would imagine it.
Good, except we don't say I would, we say I'd. I'd imagine.
I'd imagine.
Right, it means I would, but we don't say the would here. Okay, Yuki, the third one for us?
Compare and contrast. Contrast it to something you are familiar with. Both things have, whereas, conversely, more than, less than, the same as.
Okay, some ideas about how to compare and contrast the picture. So remember, you're going to try to go through all 3 stages when you're, this gives you a structure when you're looking at the picture for the first time, and you've got to connect it to the overall theme. So we'll see how this looks in reality in just a second. And finally, the 4th, if it's possible, offer a personal preference about something you compared. I'd prefer, I'd rather, anything like that. Let's put that one up there. I'd rather. Okay, I don't have all of these connectors on the map yet, but I will add them. So maybe for this class, we'll just keep referring back to this page, page number 4. Okay, let's take a look at one example from last week. There we go. On the screen, you should be able to see the exam prompt. What are the benefits of learning in these situations? How enjoyable might learning be? So, literally, you're given a set of cards and you're asked, those are the follow-up questions. The first thing you're asked in a Cambridge exam situation, like the Certificate of Advanced English, is you're asked to talk for 1 minute about the photographs. You're often given a theme. Afterwards, you'll be asked follow-up questions like the ones you see. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is just describe the photos. So let's look at an example we did already. We did this as a class last time. But Jonathan, you weren't here, so this will be an introduction for you. Okay? So look at those 3 pictures first. Jonathan, just tell me, what do you see in the first picture? Give me just a brief description of what you see. In the first picture on the left.
In the first picture, I See, maybe it's I see a classmate, the boys working in the computer.
Not just
They are,
boys, but yeah, boys and
the
girls.
the boys and girls working at the computer. They are really concentrate in their work.
Huh? Oh, that's good for
Mhm.
now. Okay, so it's like some kind of computer class. And Carmen, how would you describe the picture on the right, briefly?
Well, there's a teacher. I think perhaps he's asking some questions, and that some people are raising their hands because they know the answer. I don't know.
Okay, he's probably asking
It
questions because
appears to be like that.
there, there's a teacher there's a person who appears to be a teacher, and
Hmm.
he seems to be asking questions because people are raising their hands to answer. Okay, and Yuki, briefly, we got to keep this brief because this is just an example. Briefly, what do you see in the third picture at the bottom?
As far as what ですか Okay. They appear to be a cooking class. They are most likely is that they are learning how to cook, how to make a cake. A man is mixing the butter, and others closely seeing how to
Closely seeing or closely
closely
watching?
watching.
Watching.
Others closely watching how to do it.
Okay, very good. Good. So those descriptions were good. Let me just show you what we did last week as a class. It's basically what you said, but let's just take a look because there you can see the connectors clearly. So look, last class. Well, so there's your opening connector. Look at the map for a second. Look at these 4 things we could say. Well, to begin with, I should start by saying, just to start, let me start. Okay, and Yuki added another one today, which we've said in the past, so let's add it here. As far as X, Y, Z goes.
As far as what I can tell about this picture
Goes. Exactly. So X, Y, and Z is either a question that you're answering or the topic that you're referring to. So anything you want can go inside of X, Y, and Z. As far as what I see goes, as far as what I can tell is in the picture goes, as far as learning situations go, the first picture appears to be, anything you want. So we've got the context connector well, and we've got this, it's really just an opener as far as, I don't know what to call it. It's a rephraser. You're rephrasing a question you've been asked, or a question you're imagining. It doesn't have to be the actual question. The question is, what's in these pictures? So even if
John, I've got a question. Do you have to use go? Can you say as far as I see?
sure, yeah, you can change the expression. Sure,
Okay.
absolutely. Maybe what I should do here is, maybe I should, instead of calling this context, we'll call this, it's really an opener, so it kind of, let's just call it what just happened? Don't do that. Hold on. That was weird. Let's call this rephrasing or something like that, because it's not just an opener, so we'll call it rephrasing. I don't remember what color I used. That's not it. This maybe? Yeah, okay. So we'll move this over here. No, that's not right. There we go. We'll move this. Oh, this Mindmap program is hard to use. There we go. As far as XYZ goes, well, hold on a second, Carmen. What you're saying is fine, but it's not rephrasing. That's the point, maybe. As far as I see, as far as I can tell, that's a little different. So actually, I'm not going to include it here because our purpose is to rephrase a question you've been asked. Rephrase what you were asked. Because that's a way to open, that's one of our openers. So actually it's a technique, it's one of our openers. So maybe to make it easier, I'll call this openers. One thing we can do is rephrase. That's, oh, is that working? There we go. And the next thing we can do is give context. So maybe if we look at it like this, it's a little easier to understand. You've got right now two kinds of openers, rephrasing and giving context. You can use them together. Again, where's my rephrasing? Oh, there it is. Okay, up there at the top. So you can use them together. Maybe we ought to do that in the example. Well, as far as what's in photos, there seems to be a teacher in the middle of a classroom. This is for photo 2. There seems to be a teacher in the middle of the classroom taking questions from students. In the picture on the right side. I don't like to say right hand. It's not really necessary. So on the right side. I suppose. Okay, very good. So I suppose if we add it, it's no longer an opener. I don't know why I'm missing some important information here on my mind map, but we call these basic transitions. Transitions. All of our transitions are the same as the fanboys. Okay? So the only difference is that in a transition, you often add a conditional word. It sounds pretty good if you do. You don't have to. You shouldn't overdo it. But it sounds pretty good if you do. So I'll give examples here. And this should already be there. I don't know why it's not there. But for some reason, this is an older version of the map. But for example, you have to use our second conditional. Would. Google isn't really letting me write. I don't know what's going on. So it's a little hard to share my screen and write on the map. Let me try to see if I can do this. Would. Come on. There we go. Should. Could. Would, should, could. Might. Okay, there's others you can use, but those are the basic ones. So if it's an and connector, I would, for example, I would point out. I should, you don't have, you can interchange these as you like. I would point out. I should also, this is very frustrating because I can't type. I should also say, mention, I could, oh, this is so slow. I could add as well. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's move this up here. Okay, and so on. Basically, all I've done is take my and words and use them in a second conditional. So these are, this is an example of the and words from the fanboys being used to make a transition. So that means we're adding information. We're not always going to add information. We're also going to give examples, illustrate, compare, and contrast. Okay? But I'll put this here, even though the same information is up at the top where it says and. So if I open the and up and I close the discourse marker so you can see it, you'll see the conditions are already there. I would point out, I should add, I could mention, I might say. Also as well. It's already up there. So it's the same exact information. Okay? So I don't really need to put it under discourse markers, but I'll leave it for now. Transitions. Maybe what I could say, maybe would be better here, is if I just tell you the kinds of transitions you could have. So I'll just make a little note here. We've got adding information. So maybe I can put it like that. Whoops. Adding information with wood. Yeah, this is my map is not cooperating very well. Okay. The next one we're going to focus on today, two actually, is well, contrasting. I'll just say contrasting, doesn't matter. And finally, giving. Okay, so we're going to focus on those three today. All right, so if we go back here, just quickly, we're going to read along very quickly so you can see an example from last week. Well, as far as what's in the photos go, there seems to be a teacher in the middle of a classroom taking questions from students in the picture on the right side. I suppose he has introduced some topic and is asking students what they think about it. They might be answering the questions since we can see that, no, since we can see they, not that, since we can see they are raising their hands. One second. There we go. Learning this way is taking part actively, and I think it is part of the process, for instance, in learning a language, or really anything. So we've got, for instance, is our example connector. So as we go down the list, you can study that list if you like. It gives you an example. Because we did this as a class, it's not the most unified answer possible, right? Because everyone offered different ideas. So it's not very concise, but it's really not bad. What's important is you can see each stage. I'd like to just fix this so that you can really see the stages here. Compare and contrast. Although, well, let me just fix this a little bit. What I'm doing here is just getting rid of having the numbers line up to what we were doing. The 4 stages are more or less those. Say what you see. Well, as far as what's in the photos go, speculate about why, I suppose. There you gave an example. Compare and contrast, whereas, and then give a preference. I'd prefer to be in the situation as I'd mentioned. Furthermore, etc. Or personally, I'd prefer. So we've got 2 examples of giving a personal preference. All right. So let me just ask a question. Is that clear so far how we're going to do this? Because I'm going to give you a new set of photos today. Is that pretty clear so far? Are we cool?
Yes, it's clear.
Jonathan, are we clear what we're doing? Jonathan, are you there?
Yes, teacher. Yeah, I am here.
Okay. So if there's any questions, just ask. Okay. Look at the second set of questions here, the second set of pictures. Let's do like this. Imagine we're in an exam situation. This is applicable anywhere, but let's do it sort of like the exam. 3 pictures would be put in front of you, and I would just say what the theme is. Then I'd give you 1 minute to talk about the pictures. Okay? So let me ask you, what do you think is the theme? What's the commonality between all 3 pictures? What do you think, Carmen? What do they all have in common? If you had to sum it up in a word, what do you think it would be?
I don't know. It's like you mean there's something in common among the
Yeah.
three of them?
Okay, well, let's do it like this. Carmen, just tell me, without describing, just tell me the situation in the picture on the left.
First one, I think it's a restaurant, but I'm not sure. I think it's a restaurant, the one they're commanding ordering the meal to the waiter.
Commanding?
Ordering.
Ordering, right.
Hmm.
Okay. And Jonathan, what's the situation in the middle? We're not in a restaurant anymore in the middle, are
Okay. I think that this woman see her finger, and she has a ring. She has a ring in her finger,
we? Okay.
yeah,
And where do you think they are? Because notice what's underneath her hand. Can you see the picture? What's underneath her hand? Look at those boxes.
yeah. I think
What
that's
do you?
it. It's because these boxes contain a ring.
Right. So what's that couple doing then? In the first picture, people are ordering, probably ordering lunch. What's that couple doing in the picture then?
I think that they try to buy one ring for the woman.
So we could say it like this. They are choosing an engagement ring. Engagement. They're choosing an engagement ring because they're probably going to be married. So they're choosing or picking out an engagement ring. Clear?
Yeah.
Repeat after me. They're choosing
They are choosing
an engagement
an engagement
ring.
ring.
Right? They're choosing an engagement ring. So that the sentence is clear. So we'd say choosing. That'd be our action here. And Yuki, tell me, don't describe it, but just tell me the situation in the right side.
Where at far
No, don't describe. No, don't describe. We'll do that in a second. Just tell me what's the situation itself. So in picture one, they're ordering lunch. In picture two, they're choosing an engagement ring. What's the situation? What's the action taking place?
situation is that two tourists are seeing a picture.
Picture?
Seeing a map.
Right.
I suppose that they lost.
They are lost?
They are lost a little. They are lost.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Perhaps they're lost. Perhaps they're lost, or maybe not. Maybe look at the sign behind them. You can see the Cheshire Cycleway, and you can see the looks like Dershire Cycleway. So there's two bike paths in two different directions. So if we had to put the three pictures together and say there was one theme, what do you think the theme would be? Anyone? What do you think the theme is? In each case, what's happening in each situation? What's taking place?
Suggesting?
They need something.
They need something, and they have to choose between different options, right? So the woman has to choose different rings. The people have to choose whatever they're going to have for lunch. And the cyclists have to choose the path that they like or that they prefer, because they're probably sightseeing. I would say sightseeing more than lost, only because of the other pictures, right? Because there's got to be some reason these three pictures are being shown. So the common theme is probably choice, right? It's probably choice. And if you look at follow-up questions, it's very clear that it's choice. How easy might it be for people to make a choice in these situations? How important might it be for them to make the right choice? Okay, so let's try it like this. Carmen, I'd like you to go through all 4 stages. You can refer to the mind map here if you like. It's easier if you have it open on your computer. And it looks a little confusing, I know, but remember, it goes from right to left. So first you pick an opener. What happened to my example? Hold on. My example disappeared, didn't it? I have to put, for instance, back up here. We're going to add more examples later, but it goes from right to left. So let me move examples.
Teacher, could you send me this link
Oh, it's already there. It's already there. Look, if you go to page 3, if you go to page 3, the link is right there for you. See it? So you have to open our shared notes, and then you click on this link here to Google Drive.
But you have to
okay.
register the
Thank
system
you.
to see the page.
Yeah, you probably have to create a free account.
You need an account to
Yeah.
to access this page.
But it's free.
Okay.
You don't have to pay for it.
Perfect.
Maybe
Thank you.
now you can't open the page.
Well, you'll be able to,
until you register the page.
right, but you can download it. You don't have to have an account to download it. If you download it, you can open it with FreeMind, which is a free software, and probably other things too. So to download it, there's no problem. If you want to open it in your browser, you'll create a free account. There's a paid version as well, but you don't need it. You don't need it at all for this. Okay, so for today, if it's easier, if the mind map is confusing, then you can glance back at page 4. That's another thing you can do, because everything's there as well. All right? So I'll help you as we do this. I'll help you along. But I'd like people to do this individually today, because last time we did it as a class. So I'd like you to try it individually. So Carmen, why don't you start us off here?
Okay, I'll start with a starter saying that to begin with.
That's fine. You can also start with Yuki's connector, which is as far as. If you want to start with that, then you go to begin with. If you want to start with that, you could pick one of the questions, or you could pick the topic and insert it into the as far as. So why don't we try that? What do you think? What's the overall question that's being asked here? You don't have to use those questions. You can create one of your own. But remember, you're talking about the theme. So if I were going to ask you about that, what would I be asking you if I was the interviewer in this situation?
For me, the theme is opinions, suggestions, because it's like you've got different situations. You've got to choose one option between the options that you can have.
Right. So what's the actual question that I would ask you?
How easy might be for people to make a choice in this situation?
But I'm saying you don't have to use those. If I were an interviewer, right? And I was asking you to look at these pictures, and and I'm going to mention the topic, how would I ask the question? We've got a little trick. If you add one of our TED connectors, which is tell me, explain, or describe, TED, TED, you can take any topic and make it a question.
Can you describe what these pictures? Can you describe, or what do you think these pictures have in common?
Can you describe what these pictures have in common? You don't need to think. One more time.
Can you describe to me what these pictures have in common?
Good, but you can't say to me with describe. You can't say it.
Can you describe what
just describe? Yeah. Great. Take that question and put it inside of the as far as X goes. Want to try it? You have to use indirect speech to do it. But you try it, I'll correct you if you need it, okay?
As far as these pictures go?
As far as what?
These pictures go.
Have.
As far as
What these pictures have
gone.
in common.
What in this picture goes?
As far as what these pictures have in common goes.
As far as this picture, can you say that again?
Sure.
As far as what in this picture goes?
No. There's no in. No in.
No.
Listen. As far as what these pictures have in common goes.
Okay. As far as what these pictures have in common goes.
I should start by saying, or I should begin with.
I should begin
with, or begin by saying. Either one is okay.
Okay. I should begin by saying that all of three have some points in common.
I wouldn't say that. Not necessary. It's not necessary. Get right to the details. Get right to the details. Remember, step one, say what you see. Say what you see. Don't say they have something in common. Just say what it is they have in common. And if you like, you could pick 2 of the 3 pictures to make it easier on yourself. But go right for the details. Say exactly what you see. So
okay, I'm going to start from scrap. As far as this
what these?
As far as what these pictures having common.
Goes.
Go. But what really gives me, I don't understand the goes in here. As far as what these pictures and what else?
Have in common goes.
Have in common goes. Okay.
Yeah, because have in common is the idea, and goes is just part of the original connector, because it's always as far as XYZ goes. Always goes at the end. In other words, it's just a way to rephrase the question. It's just a.
As far as what these pictures have in common goes.
Good. Begin with.
I would like to begin with.
Now say what you see. Start saying details.
I begin with the first picture. I think that the action is taking place in a restaurant.
Right.
And some people are ordering their lunch to the waiter.
Okay, now you have to give evidence why you think they're ordering lunch.
I think as far as I see, they are ordering their lunch because they are watching, they taking a look at the menu. They trying to decide what they're going to order.
Okay, they appear to be looking at menus.
Okay, they appear to be looking at menus and trying to decide what are they going to order.
What to order.
What to order, that's it.
You don't need going to. Okay, that's perfect. Jump to the next picture. You've said what you see about picture 1. Say what you see in picture 2 or 3. Don't do all of them. Just pick one picture. Okay.
As far as the picture, as far as what the picture having in common goes. Gosh, this is so difficult for me.
I know, but it takes time. You just learned it, so it's not easy. Remember, you're kind of using indirect speech because it was a direct question, and you're making it kind of an indirect question, right? So let me give you an example. You just said, well, I should begin by pointing out that in the first picture on the left, it appears that they're in a restaurant ordering lunch because they're holding menus and they seem to be trying to decide what to order. As far as the second picture goes,
the problem there is I don't have those connectors, so I just have to remember them because I don't have the page, so I don't know which one to use.
So you can either download this mind map,
Yeah, but
Or
I have tried to download it, but I have no register, so I can open it.
okay, or jump back to page 5. I don't have all the connectors here.
You don't need to register. I mistaken. You have to download the application to see the picture.
Yeah,
Or but you can download the map. Download that.
I got it. I have downloaded it.
Without
I can see
downloading
it.
the application.
Yeah, I got it now. I got it.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
But our teacher now revising the page, but better to download after the class.
Yes,
Yeah,
true.
it's probably, yeah, because I'm going to be making some changes. Every class I'm going to be making changes to it, so it might be better to download it, use it, and then download it again.
I think
Okay.
it would be better to download the application to see
Right.
to the page directly on
all right.
time.
Okay, so what can you say about the second picture? I'll tell you what. Because we're running out of time here. So Carmen, the beginning sounded really good. I'm going to turn it over to Yuki and then to Jonathan before we run out, so everyone has a chance to do a little bit description. Okay. So I'm going to recap what Carmen said, Yuki, and I'm going to ask you to talk about another picture, and then Jonathan, I'm going to ask you to compare and contrast them, and I'll help you.
Jonathan just left because he says he had some problems. He had to refresh, but he didn't come back.
Okay. Well, we're almost out of time, actually. So, Yuki, let me just recap what Carmen said, just so I can say it fluently and you can hear it, and then you're going to add to it. Carmen said, well, as far as what these pictures have in common goes, I could begin with the first picture on the left, where it appears that people are in a restaurant ordering lunch because they're holding menus and they seem to be trying to figure out what to have. Okay, I want you to say what you see in the next picture. You can choose either picture.
Okay. Well, as far as what in the second picture goes, I could describe that they are that a couple and that a couples selecting the engage ring for them.
Are they selecting, or do they seem to be selecting?
Seeing a couple seeing the engage ring for them.
Wait, but you've got to use speculating language here. So appears, seems, could be.
They appear to be the couple seeing the engage ring for their marriage in the future. I suppose that they are marrying in the near future. They are getting married. They are getting married. I suppose that they are getting married in the near future. They are still young. I could I could add.
Good. What could you add?
Okay, I could add that there are some options to select.
There are several choices.
There are several choices to select. So a couple is wondering about
which one is best. Which one is best?
Which one is best?
Let me summarize both of these, okay? And then I'm going to go back to you, Carmen, to make a comparison or a contrast, and that's probably all the time we're going to have. because we're already a bit over time. But let me just summarize from the beginning. As far as what the pictures have in common goes, I could begin with the first picture on the left, where it seems that they're in a restaurant ordering lunch because they are holding what appears to be menus, and they seem to be trying to decide what to have and making their order. As far as the second picture goes, there appears to be a couple choosing engagement rings. I should also mention that they have a selection of rings to choose from because you can see the open boxes below the woman's hands. So I'd imagine they're trying to pick the best one for their wedding. Okay? Notice that every time I give a detail, I always give a little bit of evidence for the detail. Well, I don't just say they appear to be in a restaurant or whatever. I say they appear to be a restaurant because they seem to be holding menus, right? Or I say that they appear to be choosing wedding rings because there's open boxes beneath them and whatever. So I always try to back it up with some piece of evidence that we can all see, we can all agree on. Carmen, I'd like you to take any of the details we've mentioned, and I'd like you to compare or contrast the photos. Any of the details we mentioned. You can add a new one if you like, all right? But you might want to start with something we've already said. Compare and contrast. What do they have in common? For example.
As far as what the pictures have in common goes,
good.
I'd start or I'd begin by saying that the three pictures have some points in common.
Well, don't say that. Say what the points are.
Some I'd say
what is the point in common?
They appear to make a choice between options because there are some facts like the first one, for instance, the first photograph. They appear to be in a restaurant because they are holding menus. On the second picture, they appear to be in a jewelry shop because you can see different boxes of jewelry. And on the third picture, I would say they appear to be choosing the way to go because they are having a look at a map.
Perfect. So as you can see, it's three different kinds of choices being presented. As you can see, you're just referring back to what you said. So as you can see, it's clearly three different kinds of choices being presented. Well, listen, we've got to stop because I'm over time. I've got to start the next class.
John, just one thing, please. I have tried to open it. I have downloaded the application, but now what I've got, you haven't saved the document. So what I've got is the previous one. So could you just please save it, the mind map,
okay,
and then give me the link?
Sure.
So then I'll have all the connectors because the ones that I've got is the previous one.
Okay, I just saved it now. Remember that you have to click on the words for them to open.
Okay.
Right, so that when you download it, you might see them all closed or all open, but the map folds.
Yeah, I know, but the one that I got is the previous one you saved. So even though I clicked on it, it doesn't fold anything because it was the previous one. So now that you save it and you give me the link, I think I'll be able to see all.
Okay, if there's any problems, send me a message. This is a new program, so I'm still figuring out the best way to use it.
Yeah,
but
good one.
I think it's better to use this than a picture or a picture and outline because it's more dynamic. You can open and close it as you're speaking. I don't know. I think it might work better. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute to start the business class. Okay, and I think in the next class for speaking skills, since we have a pretty good background in how to talk about the pictures, I'm just going to give everyone a set of pictures one after another and have you go through the stages individually for the entire class.
Okay.
At this point, we know what we're doing, I think.
Okay. Now that you've saved that, it's perfect for me because I know all the connectors now.
Yeah, I'm still going to update it. I'm still going to update it because we haven't really put the contrast connectors there. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll be updating it before next class. If I do, I'll send you a message, actually. Okay?
Okay then. Thank
All
you.
right. See you soon. Bye for now.
See you. Bye-bye.